Good day. Ira Epstein with your agriculture wrap-up for this Tuesday, November 26, 2019, 4:55 in the afternoon. So, tomorrow we have another full day of trading, but believe me, the volume is going to fall on you hard. Then Friday, some of the markets are going to be open a half a day. A lot of the markets won't, so you want to contact your broker to be certain of what you've got. When you take a look at where we're at with everything, we had that challenge back to this 18-week moving average of closes, and the market for the week is down 12 3/4. As I pointed out yesterday, when this correction began, I had pointed this number out. I frankly had my own doubts it would get that low, but it has. Now, if we come back to this low close right through here too, that was the low close was 883. We've come back, and if you take a look at where you're at now, you were able to hold that on a closing basis. I don't know that it's all that important, but it's a number that I was looking at to see what the market was able to do. When we come to the daily chart, look at how this market has just collapsed. We don't have a Chinese deal. We've got harvest just about all finished. Whatever their farmer's going to get, he's pretty well done. And as you know, out west, we've got massive storms. They're going to get a lot of snow in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan. Illinois, from where we're at in Chicago, we're not going to get snow, but we're going to have tomorrow 60-mile-an-hour winds here. And as you know, for the East Coast, they're even questioning if they can get the balloons off of the Macy's Day Parade, because the winds we're getting now, we're shipping them after tomorrow right out east. So that's going to be a big storm. In the swing lines, lower highs, lower lows. In reality, with this size, almost straight down break since the 917 level, I don't know in front of the holiday, in front of Thanksgiving, how much trade is really going to develop tomorrow. That's something you got to think about. You had a bearish crossover today, which is not a good sign. You had the 18-day moving average of closes get under the 200. If it gets under the 100, you're going to hear people that are moving average specialists say this market has just put the nail in the coffin. And there's a lot of resistance now between 911 and 916.5. And I'm sure farmers are saying, well, get it back up there for me. You know, but it's 30 some odd cents away. But there's a lot of resistance there. In terms of the Bollinger Band, this is a kiss of death. When a market locks onto a Bollinger Band and doesn't go to the left-hand side, just stays on it, watch out, especially if you have the embedded reading. And that is something that I've told you for a long time for regular viewers here. And until it's over, folks, it just ain't over. It's not good grammar, but it's the way it is. And you can see here, I wanted you to see how that 18 is honing in on that 100-day average. In the meal market, this is not the same as the soybean because you don't have, number one, well, let's start here. You don't have the embedded reading. Number two, this is the first move under that number. It's like people are just tossing in the towel. You had an inkling of this when you had a bearish crossover and prices got back under everything. That was the problem. You had one challenge, well, actually a couple of challenges here of the 18-day average, and you've had capitulation since then, and even soybean oil's getting dragged. But it's the meal market. Meal's down $3.50, oil's down 19 points, and I see soy oil having support probably between 30.24 and 29.84. That's not bullish. It's just a support numbers. You've got the lower highs, lower lows. Certainly not pretty. In the corn market, you can't lift your head up here. The market's now to 378.25. If it takes out 376.75, I'm going to look to see if the market has the power to get to the lower Bollinger Band. That should be an area of support. But again, you've got that embedded reading. Until you lose these embedded readings, watch out. In the wheat market, all this snow cover, you know, we lost a lot of wheat acres, but the acres that got planted this year, they're going to be the better acres. In other words, the farmers are going to plant the best that they can. Problem is the dollar's so strong, I'm watching this market rally and I'm wondering why. I can't answer the question other than somebody must be guessing there's going to be some damage because of this, these storms that are coming in. In the sugar market, we had a failure. The market made the higher high, the lower low, went right down to that 18-day average of closes, that line in the sand in an overbought market, and sort of ended that uptrend, but has not begun a downtrend. Just sort of stopped that pattern of higher lows, higher highs. In the coffee, still bullish. The market had this one challenge back here of these 18-day averages and took off again with the higher lows, higher highs. It gets over, back under the Bollinger Band, and it's trying to embed. That's a bullish, not bearish sign. In the cocoa, this is a pattern that I've learned this year to watch. You lose an embedded reading and you develop a swing line that comes down. One of the things I'm paying attention to, and I'm always learning, I don't want to see that high taken out on my swing line. If it is, watch out. It's just like in the stock indices in my other video. Doesn't mean you're going to get back to this number. You've caught another group chart here. Will the market run to the upper Bollinger Band? Don't know. What I can tell you, overbought holiday markets, difficult trade. Cotton market just keeps fighting past couple of days. In fact, if you look at the overall pattern, it's been battling against this number. It is not trending. You have a higher high and lower low caught in Bollinger Bands that went from this narrow area. They widened themselves out, but momentum's up and bias is up. I don't see anything there in terms of a trend. In the cattle, you went to the upper Bollinger Band, and again, you just ran into that brick wall. That's what I'd expect. You got to 12600 today. 125.92 is that number, and you got thrown back. And the pattern, lower low, higher high, overbought, no trend. Doesn't mean you can't explode to the upside or downside. I just don't see anything there. In the feeder cattle market, that move to the lower Bollinger Band proved opportunistic for those that were short. Now the question is, what's the next move in the market? At this moment, you have lower highs, lower lows in a market that worked itself out of an oversold condition, but supports the lower Bollinger Band. If that were attacked and gave way in a major way, will you go back to that 100-day average? Let's flip this. Instead of breaking down big, you clear 143.30. If that's cleared, then you have the 18-day averages resistance, but you'd also end up with higher lows, higher highs. So in plain English, I think the bears don't want to see 143.30 taken out in the feeder cattle. Then we get to the hog market, which is collapsed and then gone totally sideways. At the same time, if we look at the slow stochastics, they're under 20 today. They're under 20 yesterday. They're under 20 the day before and the day before. You have what's called an embedded reading. If the red line gets back over 20, I'll look for price to challenge the 18-day average of closes. Doesn't mean it has to. We saw the cocoa not do it, and I saw stock indices recently. But I also realize the time of the year we're at. We're right in the holiday period of Thanksgiving. So I'm looking for thin, evening up trade tomorrow in these markets. I put out my metal report, so if those of you that want to see something on the gold market, I did another video report for you. I haven't done one in probably 5 weeks or so. And I wanted to bring you up to where the market's at, give you my ideas for December into January. So if you're a gold trader, you might want to take a look at it. Go to www.iraepstein.com under the word research. Now, for those of you that are not our clients or subscribe to any of my info, after 3 reports, you're going to see you're going to have trouble getting into them. I don't put them out for just everybody, okay? I'm Ira Epstein. You have a good day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.